In today's video, we're going to go over some of the best leg exercises to build muscle and strength in your 40s, 50s, 60s, and beyond. I'm going to demonstrate some of my favorite exercises that involve a variety of equipment, barbells, dumbbells, even body weight. I'm going to tell you the proper sets and reps you want to do, and at the very end of this video, I'm also going to teach you some great core exercises that integrate perfectly with the legs. And before we get into these leg exercises, I want to share a couple things. It is so important for you to have strong legs as you age. First off, having strong legs looks great, but it also increases your metabolism when you have more muscle and improves your balance. So this is something you must do. And if you're someone with any kind of knee pain or hip pain, improving your leg strength is going to help with all of that. And at the end of this video, I'm also going to cover some great core exercises that integrate perfectly into this leg training so you have a full routine to follow. Let's get into the first category of exercises. So when it comes to the best leg exercises, there are really two categories of motions. There's two-leg motions and there's single-leg motions. We want to do both. But I want to suggest highly that you start your leg workouts off with two-leg motions because these are the big compound motions that we go heavier on to build the muscle. These are things like squats and deadlifts. And we're going to start off talking about squat-type motions. And there's a lot of different varieties. Now, the first exercise and kind of like the gold standard of leg training is the barbell back squat. And if you can incorporate these into your routine and you do feel good with these, it's absolutely phenomenal. And I want to give you some tips and also show you how you can make these exercises even more knee-friendly. The first thing is the bar placement, where the actual bar sits on your back. For most people in their 40s, 50s, and 60s, I recommend a lower bar placement where the bar is not up on your neck, but it's sitting a little further back. You can see me actually addressing the bar and having that bar position right there. And I want you to keep a very strong upper back. A lot of people totally neglect the bar tight back position, which is the foundation of that squat. Now, as you squat, you want to be drifting back, almost like you're sitting back into a chair. This is going to make it a lot more knee friendly for you, and it's going to make it so that you can really do the squats. Now, if your knees are hurt and have some problems, you can try doing it on a Smith machine, which is one of those safety bars that goes up and down on the track, and you can actually step out a little further away so you're really sitting back into that chair. That's going to make it a lot more knee friendly for you. Now, with the squats, there's many rep ranges you can play around with. You can do something like heavy squats in the 6 to 8 rep range, but what I recommend for most people over 40 is doing higher rep squats, anywhere in the 12 up to 20 rep squats. When your legs are really burning, that creates a powerful signal for muscle building. It's a lot of metabolic stress. It's really great. So I'm a huge fan of high rep squats. So if you do 3 to 4 sets to start your workout off, anywhere from 6 up to 20 reps, it's going to be great. And you might do some days where you do high rep squats and other days where you do heavier squats. Now, what I love about the squatting motions is you don't actually strictly need to do barbell squats to be able to do this. You can also use something like a trap bar deadlift, also known as a hex bar deadlift. So this is really great because it mimics the squatting motion, but you don't have to have a bar on your back. So you basically get into one of these hex bars and you go down and you're going to almost do a deadlift. You load your legs, you load your core, you brace your core, and you stand up really strong. And then you come right back down and unwind. You're basically doing a squat motion, and what's cool about the hex bar or the trap bar deadlift is that center of gravity is moving right through the center of your spine. So it's actually going to be a lot easier on your back, and it still gives you great leg motion. Now, if you want to make this even harder, you can stand up on a different weight or a platform to elevate yourself a little more to get that even deeper range of motion. But if you're someone who has knee pain, just doing the classic with right on the ground there is going to have a lower range of motion and is really good on your knees. And the final type of two-leg pressing and squat motion that is also good is using some kind of leg press machine. And if you work out at a commercial gym, there's many different varieties. What I want to suggest that you do is use a higher rep range on these, anywhere from 15 up to 30 reps. Those high rep leg presses are really, really phenomenal for building both endurance and strength into your legs, and they can be done very safely. Now, the foot placement is key. You need to find the foot placement that works best for you and your body and feels really good. I recommend most people when they're starting a leg press start with a higher and wider foot placement. This is going to kind of mimic that idea of sitting back into a squat and takes a little bit of the pressure off your knees and shifts it more to your hamstrings and your glutes. And as you play around with that, you can move your feet in a little bit more and you're getting a little more quad activation. But again, make this knee friendly, do higher upper leg press, and I think you're going to find a lot of benefit to this. And you're going to pick one of these two-leg squat motions to start your workout in, and then we'll move on to the next type of motion, the two-leg hip hinging or deadlift motions. So when it comes to two-leg hip hinging motions, aka deadlifting, you can do either barbell or dumbbell deadlifts, and both have their pros and some of their cons. Now, the barbell is the gold standard, classic, great exercise. If you can do this and it feels good on your knees and your back, I recommend you incorporate this into your routine. Here's how the barbell deadlift works. You take the bar and you're going to roll it into your shins. You want to get that bar as close as you can. And you're going to begin to kind of slack out that bar and kind of pull up to really load that posterior chain. When I say posterior chain, I mean your hamstrings, your glutes, your low back. You're creating tension, and then you're gonna stand up with that bar. And as the bar comes up, you're gonna be squeezing your glutes and driving your hips forward into this nice standing, powerful position here. And then you're gonna unwind intentionally by shifting the hips back, lowering the bar, and that bar should drag down your legs, and it should also drag down to your shins. And this is a big mistake people make. They keep that bar too far away from them, and that totally kind of defeats the purpose and actually makes the exercise a lot more dangerous. You wanna keep that bar really close to you. And with the deadlifts, I think it's something that you can train in 2 rep ranges like the squats. You can do them heavy for the purpose of muscle building. This might be from 6 to 10 reps. But particularly if you choose to do the dumbbell deadlifts, you can do these in a higher rep range, 12, maybe even 15 reps. And these are very good because you're creating constant tension on that posterior chain. It's gonna give you a great burn and a lot of tension, and that's what's gonna give you great gains. Now, one other version that can make it even more advanced is doing something like a deficit dumbbell deadlift. And this is where you're actually standing on some kind of weight plate to give you a greater range of motion. And you choose a lighter dumbbell for this. And then you're gonna have your legs be a little more stiff, not fully locked out, but a little more towards if you were gonna bend over and do a hamstring stretch. And then you're gonna come down with the dumbbells, pause at the bottom for a second, and then fire right back up. And this is really gonna focus more on the hamstrings and the glutes. It's gonna take less work off the quads. It's also a great variety, especially something that pairs well after you've done some kind of squatting motion. So those are 2-leg hip hinging motions, aka deadlifts. I think you're gonna love these. Let's move into our single leg motions. So now that we've covered our 2-leg motions, we're gonna get into our single leg motions. And my personal favorite single leg motion for the legs after 40 is the single leg Bulgarian split squat. This is an amazing exercise because we can isolate each leg, create a lot of tension, and it doesn't require a lot of weight or basically any equipment. You just need something to elevate your back foot, like a bench or a chair, and you can use your body weight to start out. Here's how this exercise works. You're gonna put a bench or a chair behind you, and that's where you're gonna put your back foot on. And you're also gonna wanna hop that front foot out to a place where you feel like, as you're squatting down like you see me right here, your knee is tracking slightly over your toe, but it's also comfortable for you. And one of the things I love about this exercise is you can adjust your front foot placement to make sure it feels good on your knees. If you have any amount of knee pain, you can step that foot even further out. And again, you feel like you're now sitting a little further back into that chair position. That's gonna work your glutes and your hamstrings and take a little pressure off your knees. But you're gonna need to play around with whatever leg placement feels good for you. And you're gonna work one leg at a time. And you're gonna do up to 10 to 15 reps. Now, when you're doing single leg motions like this, I want you to think about doing one long continuous rep. And this is a training technique called continuous tension non-lockout. Whereas if you were doing a big deadlift, you almost have a big pull-up and you pause and you come right back on down. I want you to feel like this is almost one continuous rep all the way up, smooth transition to the way down. That's gonna create a lot of tension and a lot of burn in each of your legs. And then you can immediately progress to the next leg and do the other side. Or you can rest around 15 to 30 seconds between each leg because it is a fairly taxing motion. With these single leg motions, you want to do these after the 2-leg motions, and I say you do at least 2 sets per side, maybe up to 3. Now let's move on to our next single leg motion. I want to introduce you to the single leg step up. And this is another exercise that not enough people do, but it's so foundational. What do we use our legs for? Well, going upstairs. We were able to walk and get this kind of motion to activate the glutes and all the different core muscles. The single leg step up is like the graduated version of that, where you're going to get some kind of bench or some kind of chair. You're going to load one leg at a time, just like you did with the Bulgarian split squat. And you're going to put all of your attention into creating tension in your glute and pushing through your foot. And then when you have that tension, you're going to stand up on that leg without jumping off your back foot. You're going to have that impulse to want to jump off that back foot, but you're going to really try to push up with that one single leg on the way up, then control yourself on the way down. Then you're going to reset, create that tension, stand right back on up. You might only be able to do 5 quality reps here, but that's fine. This is about quality over quantity. You want to create tension in that leg and that glute and stand up. And as you get stronger, you can start to add plates and other things underneath you to create a greater range of motion. But starting off, you might be doing these a little bit smaller. And I want you to focus on understanding that the lowering portion of this rep is just as important as the springing up. It's not just about springing up and dropping down. That slow, controlled lowered back to the tension point is really massive for this exercise. So you do 5 up to 10 reps per leg, and then you'll switch legs. So that is the single leg step up. It's an amazing motion. I recommend at this point in the workout doing around 2 sets of 5 to 10 reps each side. And you might want to rest around 30 seconds between each leg. Now that we've covered these motions, the 2-leg squatting motions, the 2-leg deadlift motions, the single leg Bulgarian split squat, and the single leg step up, we're going to move into some great core exercises that also integrate the leg work. So one of my favorite concepts to integrate into training is to put core training at the end of my workouts, but make the core training very relevant to the body part I'm exercising. So in this case, we're doing a lot of leg exercises. So we're gonna have core exercises that have a leg-based feel. And this is really cool because it's gonna integrate these movement patterns you've been working, and it keeps your training really fresh. So the first interesting core exercise that integrates the legs is a hamstring ball rollout. And you wouldn't expect this to be a core exercise, but it's really powerful and it's been research proven to really tear up your core. What you want to do is get one of these big exercise balls and you get yourself on your back with nice stable position with your arms out on your sides, and you're going to put both legs on the ball. You're going to elevate your butt so you have nice tension in your posterior chain, and then you're going to roll that ball in. 2 legs. Pause at the top so you're doing basically a hamstring curl, and when you roll back out into that extended position, you're gonna raise one heel off the ball at a time. One heel up, other heel up, back down, and you're gonna come back to do another curl. So now you curl on in, and you go back out, heel up, other heel up, and then you do your next hamstring curl. And this is surprisingly effective for your core, especially when you're in that out position, you raise one heel up. You might find when you actually get into this extended position, you want to do multiple reps of the heel up. So what you could do is a hamstring curl in, come back out, heel up 1, and then do 2 hamstring curls in, 1, 2, and then heel up 1, 1, 1, 1. So you can play around with all different kinds of rep schemes, but it's in that extended position when you're raising your heel up that you're going to get the best effect on your core. So that's one to try. Here's the next great core exercise that also works with your legs. It is a seated hip flexor raise. And this is a subtle core exercise that I want you to incorporate because it's going to make your body function a lot better. And if you want to be athletic with your kids or your grandkids, you need to have strong, nice, explosive hip flexors. So you're going to sit down on the floor almost like you're doing a hamstring stretch. You're going to put your hands on the side of your body, and then one leg at a time, you're going to flex your whole entire leg in your quad, and you're going to raise it up about 2-3 inches. And then you're going to lower it controlled. And then you're going to do the other leg, raise it up 2-3 inches, hold, lower it down. So it's a very small, subtle motion that you can see me do here. But what it's doing is activating the hip flexor and the quads and your abs at the same time. You want to be pushing down hard through your hands, raise up, pause, come on down. And I want you to try to do 15 to 20 reps per side. You're going to find this is very challenging, very effective, integrates this core with those whole body leg tensions. So that's a very good exercise. And our final core exercise that integrates into the legs is a back extension. And there's many different machines you can do this on. I have a glute hamstring style machine here. And what I'm doing is getting myself into the position basically where my legs are extended and I have the tension in my glutes. And then I'm going to be doing these back extensions just like this. I have my arms overhead to give myself more tension, and I'm doing really back pulses just like this. I'm keeping my glutes and my hamstrings very taut, and my core is working to stabilize my spine through this motion. Now, if you don't have access to a glute hamstring type machine like this, you may have access to something that's like one of these smaller Roman chairs that are a little more upright. You can do them like this, and as you progress, you can hold a weight plate to your chest or something like that. And if you have no equipment whatsoever, you can also do these body weight by doing a Superman or Superwoman, where you're basically on the floor, you're going to squeeze those glutes, and you're going to raise your arms and your legs and do some back extensions like this. Either way, I think back extensions are a wonderful thing to do at the end of your leg workouts because they integrate the core in a very powerful and well-rounded way. So I hope you enjoyed these exercises. My intention for you in this is to pick a couple of these that you haven't been doing regularly, incorporate this into your strength training. And when it comes to doing legs, I think it's a good idea to get leg training, ideally twice per week, but separated by about 3 days or so, because leg training takes a lot out of your body and you want to make sure you fully recover. So it could be a good idea to do a leg training, let's say on Monday, and then revisit legs again on Thursday or Friday and have some rest days in between. You can train upper body in between or do cardio in between, but give yourself a good amount of time. These are not exercises to do every single day, because for the purpose of building muscle, we want to stimulate and then use rest and recovery in the middle to have that body enabled to grow and respond to the training stress. And of course, if you want more help with these workouts, go into the pinned comments in the description. We literally have full programs for fit fathers and fit mothers on how to build muscle and lose fat over 40. We are the best in the business, most success stories of anyone who's transformed people over 40. So check out our programs. I'm grateful you're here. This is Dr. Anthony Balduzzi signing off. I'll see you around the channel. Hit the thumbs up button if you like this. Of course, subscribe to the channel if you haven't, and I'll talk to you very soon.